And we have received a lot of interest from many different groups to come and present what we are doing on the Transportation Expenditure Plan to them. We had 2 meetings with the League of Women Voters. The first meeting really was to listen to what their concerns are or were about the Transportation Expenditure Plan, particularly those that they had published in their voter analysis. And in the second meeting, we were able to go through each one of their issues and demonstrate how we've addressed their issues in the Transportation Expenditure Plan. So it was a very positive meeting, and we were very pleased that they were able to take the time and work with us on those issues. We've also met with several different members of the Sierra Club to discuss the Transportation Expenditure Plan. We have not had the opportunity to meet with the leadership of the Sierra Club because they have just conducted their elections for the leadership, but we have meetings scheduled to continue to meet with different Sierra Club members in the coming months. We've also been meeting with many different interested parties. Just yesterday we had a meeting with the East Bay Bicycle Coalition, ACE, Genesis, ATU, all of whom are very interested in the plan and interested in its approval and interested in supporting it. We've also been contacted by many different labor unions requesting updates and information on the plan because they're interested in it, what it has to offer, and interested in participating in education around it. So our plan is to continue to work on Transportation Expenditure Plan messaging that we would like to bring back to you next month, a series of messages associated with the Transportation Expenditure Plan that hopefully will be approved today. And that summarizes the outreach.
I'm sorry, did you say anything about the Central Labor Council? When was that meeting? Did you have, or is it
that meeting is this Friday. We'll be presenting to them for Friday.
Commissioner Michaud?
Did you meet with Building and Trades?
We've met with Building and Trades. We have additional meetings that for different unions. Several different unions have contacted us. The laborers, Building and Trades, SEIU has contacted us.
Did you meet with Andreas?
Yes.
He's on the committee. He did that. He's on the actual committee, the steering committee for the campaign. Anybody else on that?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add that in the next few days and next week, you will be receiving calls from Tom Clifford. He will be reaching out to you individually, and when I could make those meetings, I will, to sit down and brief with you individually about what we're doing and seek your assistance when you can and where you can, and seek your input on strategy as well moving forward or on public education. So you will see phone call started with my Tom and to schedule a meeting with you individually. So that's a heads up to you only at this point.
Anybody else? Okay, Stuart Flashman. Come on, your turn.
Good morning, Commissioners and Chair. Stuart Flashman, I'm here for the Emeryville Property Owners Association. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about is in terms of the expenditure plan, and I want to acknowledge the fact that the expenditure plan has included in it at this point the authorization to allow shuttles to be eligible for grants for assistance. But I want to talk about specifically one such shuttle. That's the Emery go-round shuttle in Emeryville. And as you may be aware, Emeryville has been a very rapidly growing city. It's increased in population from 3,000 in 1980 to more than 10,000 now, so that's more than tripling in size. And excuse me, and it has really taken to heart the reasons behind what we're trying to do in transportation in terms of making the Bay Area much more transit-oriented and less car-oriented. Emeryville has really been a leader in pushing transit-oriented development and making it sure that it has the higher density development on transit corridors. And one of the central elements in Emeryville's transit strategy has been something called the Emery Go-Round, which is a shuttle excuse me, that provides connectivity between all of Emeryville and the MacArthur BART station, which is the closest BART station to Emeryville. and has become an integral part of Emeryville's transportation strategy. Right now, that shuttle is funded primarily by an assessment district that assesses business property owners within the city, and then there is also money that is basically required to be included in conditions of approval on new developments, so that new development pays its share to that shuttle service. But there has been some concern among some of the property owners within the assessment district that the current allocation isn't fair, and there's been rumblings that that assessment district may be voted down by its membership when it comes up for renewal in 2 years. And if that were to happen, it would be a very serious blow. It would really greatly damage Emeryville's transportation situation, as well as the transportation for the entire county, because it would put a lot more cars on the road. People who are now using that Emery go-round and public transit to get to and from the city would end up using their cars, and that wouldn't be good. So we appreciate the fact that the authority has put in the property, and I want to particularly acknowledge Ruth Atkins' role in putting that in, to say that shuttle services like the Emery go-round are eligible for funding, but we are concerned that there's nothing in there right now that specifies a certain allotment of the overall funding that says this much is reserved for shuttle services, nor are there criteria to be used to prioritize which shuttle services get funding. And we think that's important, because there are lots of different shuttle services. Some of them are public, some of them are semi-public, some of them provide service through a wide area, some of them only to a few limited number of stops, some of them are connected up to other public transit. Some of them are, for example, like the Sutter hospitals have a shuttle service between their campuses. That's all very nice, but it doesn't provide the type of connection to public transit that is really essential.
You wrap up.
Okay. The point is we think that you've made a good start, but we think there needs to be more put in, and whether that's put into the actual ballot measures, or whether it's put into the implementation regulations, is not as important as making sure that before this goes on the ballot, there's a clarification that there is money specifically set aside, and the process to make sure that it's done, that it's allocated in a fair and an appropriate manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flash. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, item 4.
Okay, this is an item for your approval. It's an action item. And I wanted to say that staff is very pleased to bring this transportation expenditure plan before you today and before the commission later this afternoon. It's a culmination of the latest 6 months of work on this plan. And basically since July, there's been a series of efforts that have been conducted, including polling, focus groups, in an effort to make sure that we understand that the priorities within the 2012 plan that we had put forward continue to remain important to people, and also an understanding of other issues that are important to people we understood through the polling efforts. As mentioned earlier in the outreach, we have held meetings with the League of Women Voters, with the Sierra Club, and then the Tri-Cities, the mayors and the Board of Supervisors members representing the Tri-Cities also conducted work to address the Dumbarton Rail Corridor, which lost external funding. And that project has been, basically, the description has been renamed, and I'll talk about that in a few moments. So there's been a lot of work by you as our commissioners and different folks to bring this document forward to you today. This 30-year, $8 billion plan really is a powerful opportunity for Alameda County to deliver an environmentally sustainable set of transportation investments that will help us meet the growing demands in our transportation system while supporting jobs and local businesses as our economy continues to recover. We truly see this plan as a tipping point for Alameda County. We think it's a very balanced and innovative plan that provides essential funding to keep our system in a state of good repair, expand transit capacity and commuter options, and creating affordable transportation solutions for seniors, youth, and people with disabilities. So what I'd like to do is very briefly go over some of the changes in the transportation expenditure plan from the 2012 plan. First and foremost, it has a sunset date. We included that in, it's a 30-year plan. There are no changes to any funding amounts for any projects that were negotiated through the 2012 plan. There are no percentage changes in terms of funding going to operations and maintenance. Some of the general changes that were made throughout the document were to bring up accountability and performance measures and demonstrate those much more clearly, how we have those in this plan, and that all funds that are allocated through this plan must be done through an open and transparent process, not only here at Alameda CTC, but for any of the fund recipients. All of the cities, the county, and the transit operators need to use an open and transparent process. We eliminated redundancies in the plan, and we also eliminated out-of-date information, such as a lot of description around the merger and some of the description around the plan development. We created a new executive summary that summarizes the expenditure plan so people in brief can look at the first few pages and understand what the intent and the actual elements that will be funded through this expenditure plan. It's a quick read, it's easy to understand, and it reflects language that people showed as their priorities in the polling. We also changed the funding titles, the funding category titles, again to reflect how people understand transportation. So we changed mass transit, for example, to BART, bus, and senior and youth transit. We changed local streets and roads to local streets maintenance and safety. Highway efficiency, freight, and economic development turned into traffic relief on highways. For bike and ped infrastructure, we changed it to bicycle and pedestrian paths and safety. We had a category that was called sustainable transportation and land use linkages, and that has been changed to community development investments. And then we left technology and innovation the same. I wanted to note that we did add a new paragraph in here clearly clarifying that revenues from express lanes go back into the express lane corridors and can be used for transit operations as well as transit capital. I already mentioned the Dumbarton Rail Corridor. We've removed rail as an eligible funding element for that, and we included transit, funding of transit operations across the Dumbarton Bridge, as well as investments in the Tri-Cities area for transit-oriented development, local streets and roads, and bicycle and pedestrian investments. We also added a paragraph in the community development investments section that addresses non-displacement. For projects that are implemented, project sponsors must mitigate any displacement that occurs. And then, as has been noted earlier, we added shuttles to the technology and innovation section. So that has been included in the transportation expenditure plan. Regarding the implementing guidelines, we added a couple things I wanted to clarify. That we included a paragraph on performance measures and cost effectiveness, and that the independent watchdog committee will, on a periodic basis, look at how we are addressing performance and cost effectiveness as we're delivering these projects. We also did several general changes, eliminating words that people didn't understand or that were misunderstood, such as pass-through funds, and we also reflected that good jobs will be supported by this plan. I wanted to specifically, staff actually wanted to specifically thank the ad hoc members who, and that's Commissioner Hagerty, Kaplan, Capitelli, and Marchand, for their direction, their patience, and their time working in a small room, going line by line in this plan, and they have made a recommendation to you today to support this plan. So today, both the ad hoc and staff recommend your approval of this transportation expenditure plan to go to the full commission for its approval, and thereafter that staff will seek approvals from the cities and the Board of Supervisors to place the measure on the ballot. In addition, it seeks approval, this recommendation seeks approval for additional polling to be performed this year on the transportation expenditure plan. So with that, staff recommends that recommendation for approval.
Okay. Excellent, that's working. Thank you very much for that presentation. And I understand, okay, so the chair's coming back. And
what are you doing on the chair?
I couldn't make it switch microphones that were on, so I slid over to your microphone, but I yield to you
On what issue?
gladly. We just, this very moment finished.
Okay,
And I
thank
was
you.
just about to express appreciation for all the hard work that not only our staff, but also a lot of grassroots community members have put into improving and refining this plan. It is improved from the previous round we've seen, and you all put in a lot of hours, and a lot of members of the public who are stakeholders in this also put in a lot of time. And so I just wanted to say thank you to everybody because it is dramatically improved. And to my colleagues, I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that we, under the new plan, will have a truly independent watchdog committee with independent appointed authority. And so the level of public commitment in terms of accountability is significantly strengthened from the previous draft. And those suggestions came both from the League of Women Voters, the Sierra Club, I believe also the Oakland Tribune editorial urged that type of strengthening of the public watchdog function. And so that is in here. So I just want to appreciate everyone for that as well. Thank you.
Okay.
And then I did want to talk about to the Emery go-round issue, but I don't know if I should do that now or...
Well, you can just hold off.
So I can save that at the appropriate time, but I did want to follow up on the question of the shuttles.
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about just real quick. Look, we have a good plan here, and, Ruth, with her leadership the other day, last time we talked,
People who would want to advocate against the countywide measure, I think we're reaping a tremendous benefit from the countywide measure. So let me just say also that in terms of I think the place to figure out dollar amounts is the Emeryville Property Owners Association, who's threatening to upset the apple cart here. We haven't heard what would be satisfactory to them, but let me just say that I know that there's a lot of other shuttles around, and I don't know how well this would compete against other shuttles, but we have had more than 1.5 million riders a year, which is a lot of people not driving their cars. So I don't know the cost effectiveness of San Leandro's, Lynx, or some of the other shuttles that are around, but we do transport a lot of people. And so it is a deserving service. The people, employees, employers, and residents in town have grown to rely on the shuttle. So
If you wanted to move the 50% proposal, I would be willing to.
I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's fair because this category of money is the smallest pot of money in the whole TEP, and it's for technology. And there's nothing particularly high tech about shuttle buses, and there's a lot of other competing needs in this category. So as sitting as an Emeryville vice mayor this year, it's like I could say, oh yeah, let's do that. But sitting as a commissioner on ACTC, it's like there's going to be a lot of competing needs in this one category. And so, as
well, I don't think the purpose of the measure has ever been to fully fund anything, and there's a lot of Dublin residents that are really burned that IKEA never went out there, that go up and spend a lot of money in your IKEA up in Dublin, or up in Emeryville. So, it's kind of like, you can't, if you want to go return to source, I'll be happy to, because the city of Pleasanton will really enjoy that, because I think Stonebridge Mall is like the largest tax generator in the county. So if you wanted to return to source, I can tell you my district would really be happy with that. I don't think we want to go down that road.
no,
And I think it will be.
but I'm just saying that's what some of the talk is in town.
Well, they can talk that, and if they want to force it, maybe they should do some homework and find out that in fact, probably the North County would lose because South and East County are developing, the Kia in Dublin is like the 5th largest tax generator in Alameda County.
But I think there's a way forward here because we all agree that we want to support the shuttle and that the Emery go-round is good for the region. So, you know, I'd be happy to move the 50%. And maybe we can chat between the committee and the commission as we're forwarding the recommendation about the right way to wordsmith it.
There's other speakers.
Oh, I'm
Are
sorry.
you done, Ruth? Because I
Right, for
kind of
now.
cut you off and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Supervisor Carson.
Thank you very much, President. Ruth and I, our office had conversations prior to today regarding this, and then Ruth and I talked about this as well prior to the beginning of the meeting. And so, you know, in terms of the prioritization of having Measure B dollars going into that corridor, I personally want to respect the authority of the individuals who are closer to this particular issue, in this case, Ruth. So in terms of the prioritization of expenditure dollars in Measure B into that corridor, I want to kind of focus on that. The second part, though, I don't want to get away from, is that while, and I have taken the go-around a number of times, so while, because it is in my district as well, so while that is a vital mode of transportation day and night, I think that there will be a measure on the ballot that the citizens of Emeryville will be able to decide on whether or not they want to tax themselves.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
I know what we're trying to avoid, so let me finish my
I'm
comment.
sorry.
Thank you, I haven't cut you off.
I apologize.
The issue that I was attempting to make is there are multiple taxing issues that are coming on everybody's ballots from a number of different sources. And so at some point in time, not just in this venue, we have to really figure out how we, as local officials, the composition of all these are starting to affect the psyche of the voters in terms of important issues that we need that goes beyond just the transportation issue. But because of the democratic process, it does give the citizens to make that decision on their own. I don't think I would like to give up being a part of the expenditure plan monies that go in technology that would go towards the Emery go-round if it were there. I don't think we would not want to be a participant of that. But I think that the checks and balances will play out in this process, even for us who don't want, and I'm one of those, everything to go before the voters in terms of increased taxes.
Just an information question. What's the budget for Emery go-around now?
$2.9 million.
It's about 2.6 million, it's a little under $3 million for the entire operating budget.
You know, when we first talked about this and when Ruth brought it up, it got stuck in the technology section, which is the tiniest part of the entire expenditure plan. I thought it was a little odd that it fit into technology and innovation, and I thought it probably should have gone somewhere else. But if we take $77 million and we take half of that and put it towards shuttles, we're really talking about $1.25 million a year for 30 years. It's not a lot of money. So, and by the way, the Emery go-round is extending into West Berkeley, and the hope actually was to extend it all the way through West Berkeley and hook into the North Berkeley Park. So I guess I would ask the question, could we just move, just so there's more money available and not necessarily to specify an exact amount, could we move it to the community investment that improves transit connections to jobs and schools, which is a total of $300 million rather than $77 million? That's one question. And two, and I don't think this necessarily has to be done here, but at least maybe we adopt it in theory. And two, that we include some self-help requirement, so that we're not just putting money at San Leandro or Emeryville. We're asking the community, you know, if this is important to you, then we want it to be a self-help program within your community or within, say, West Berkeley, for instance. I know the West Berkeley employers have voted and are coming on board very strongly to support the shuttle. So 2 questions. 1, should we maybe move it up 1 category? And 2, not necessarily specify an amount, but consider that there be a self-help requirement.
I would support that. There'll be shuttles in there.
Okay, I just want, look, whatever solves this, I mean, this is what I'm looking for, but I want to caution us that we don't, we're starting to open here. We got a crack in the dam, and we quickly need to put some bubble gum on it or something and move on, because we are engaging the ground right now and starting to open this up. So you're saying move it up into the,
This make it an eligible use, name it as an eligible use for that money. I'm okay with that if that will resolve it.
so then
Yeah,
would you
I think that's-
use that money?
it's-
Well, let me try to
it's more
figure this out.
logical.
Okay. So then, if it's the 4% and it's 300 million, and for example, if you came forward, I just want to understand this, okay? If you came forward with the shuttle project, say for Berkeley, Emeryville, would that come out of the North County example projects?
I would presume
Of
so,
course.
yes.
Okay, so it comes out of the planning area.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally support that.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to include a self-help requirement in
That would
I
be
think we can
the
get to the
implement regs.
criteria.
there.
of that.
Okay.
I think we would probably all agree with that, Lori, but
Yeah.
let's not get
Okay.
tangled up in that right now, because, you know, we're gonna have to sit down and come up with a criteria, and I'm sure we would like some sort of, help with that. So I think that's a good point. Are we okay?
I think, just want to be clear, if you look on page 2 of the plan, what you're suggesting is making the community development projects improve access to jobs in school and technology and innovation 1 category. So it'll be $377 million, and allow for shuttle to be eligible under that 1 bucket, correct?
So moved.
Okay, so that's why, let me just,
No,
That's not what I'm
that's
suggesting.
not what
No,
we
no,
said.
I'm just suggesting that technology stay the same at 1%, but that shuttle move from that
Got it.
category up 1 category.
okay, so.
Stay the category, Lori.
The category would be community development investments.
So page 32 would be the page we would be editing, where it says at the top of page 32, investments in sustainable transportation that improve transit connections to jobs, et cetera,
Etc.
and say including
Including
shuttles.
shuttles.
Got it.
So we move it from the other page to that page.
All right.
Is that, am I?
Yeah, that's-
Can we hold on,
that's
let's go to speakers,
That's
understand what we're
just-
talking about now. Okay, so I'm gonna move to Sabrati.
Yeah, I just want to say, I wholeheartedly support the change, because one of my concerns was, I mean, I know it's only 1%, that's that technology piece, but I think it's an important piece, and I had a concern about cutting that in half, carving out something else, even though this sounds like a very worthwhile project, and I think it meets the criteria when I think about a community investment that ties connection to job and school. That's
Future policy decisions that you get to make, based on what? What you have authorized us to do already is conduct a comprehensive transit study for the county to look at all modes of mass
Okay,
transit.
I'm sorry, this is going way beyond where I intended to.
Well,
I'm sorry.
my only point is-
I am happy with the motion before us, and I think I can.
My only point is, I'm hopeful that the one outcome of this transit study allow you to make informed decision about how much to fund which shuttle. You have the Hayward shuttle, you have the San Leandro, you have the Oakland Green shuttle, and you have this shuttle. All of and Alameda as well, all of which are in the same situation financially, and so you have to look at comprehensively and make sure that we have the ability to fund them all on a equity basis at some point in the future.
Okay, you got? Ted?
One further comment on that? And
Quickly, Mr. Clark.
yes, and that's, I agree with you that essentially all of these shuttles have importance. They all need to be considered. The concern is that the voters have an understanding there's enough money potentially available to provide significant relief to, again, as you point out, all of these shuttles are somewhat distressed at the moment. And voters need to know, yes, that this could be part of the solution. And so maybe, I don't know whether it needs to be an allocation or maybe just the a statement in there that there's intention that there be significant relief allowed.
I think we are, yeah, but I think we're starting to pick the flag around this pepper here. I think we had a pot of money, it was, you know, we offered 35 million, Ruth and Capitelli and Carson all said, not enough. We didn't touch that pot anymore, we pulled it out, we put it somewhere else. If they can't figure out that our commitment is to shuttles, I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell them. But I think I think we've moved a lot, and I've never seen Ruth quiet here, and quite frankly, she will advocate for Emeryville. Michelle will advocate. Who knows? Sabrante may advocate for a shuttle to the Ace train station. You know, the Dublin go round, a pub crawl. Who knows what it will be?
St. Patrick's.
Michelle, you're up.
Thank you. I like the idea of moving it up into a category that has more money, but one of the, and we certainly have our shuttles too, we have the Cal State, and a couple of other shuttles. But my concern with the way the discussion is going is, are we violating any bidding or procurement processes by talking about specific amounts?
We haven't talked about specific amounts.
Okay, because it sounds like...
Who's bidding?
Well, no, it sounds like we're setting aside a specific amount.
But we're doing, the
For a
whole
type of-
plan is based on specific amounts.
Yeah, for a type of transit.
Yeah, I don't have any problem for that type of transit. We're not talking about an amount going to Emeryville, right?
No.
No,
Okay.
we can't.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah,
Because you're gonna have to go into your community and sell this.
yeah, I am.
Okay. Because I think really that this board has made great strides in trying to help Emeryville and other shuttle providers. So, Gregory?
Yeah, I only want to support it. I think it elevates the whole concept of shuttles county-wide. It brings dollars to the top of Emery. So it's good.
Can we have something for the meeting? I don't know how you're.
Yes, we
Are you
can.
training this internally?
We will make an attempt of adding some language in here between the two meetings.
Over 2 o'clock.
Before the 2 o'clock.
So something can be there.
And we'll incorporate our recommendation.
We gotta try our hardest.
I would think the citizens of Emeryville should have a big party tonight. So. Okay, so with that, anything else beyond shuttles? You guys geared up? Anybody else? Anything else within the TDP?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would move approval with that amendment. Do we need to restate the amendment for the record, or is
Second.
it sufficiently clear?
I second that.
It's clear. All right, I have a motion and a second to move approval, or receive an update and approve the revised 2014 TDP as well, you can read item 4, but also in relationship to shuttles, that one we need it 2 or 2 big, whatever that. We'll be there. Okay. I hope everybody's still clear after what I just said, because you were before I said it.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any of, we're ready for roll call, I guess. You know what, I'm not gonna do it. Zach, yes, you do. I remember, I know the law. You do.
It can't hurt to
It's
do
a
a roll call.
Leland
It can't hurt to do a roll call.
It's a Leland E law. Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Commissioner Ortiz?
Yes.
Commissioner Hagerty?
Yes.
Commissioner Miley? Commissioner Carson?
Yes.
Commissioner Capitelli?
Yes.
Commissioner Subranti?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkin?
Yes.
Commissioner Pashot?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Yes.
Commissioner Gregory?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Move on to item 5.
Item 5 describes the schedule for moving forward. We're asking for your approval of this schedule to implement the next steps for the necessary approvals of the Transportation Expenditure Plan. With your approval that you just did, this item will be going to the full commission for action and approval today. Thereafter, we will be scheduling with all of the cities to ask for their approvals of the Transportation Expenditure Plan with the aim of going to the Board of Supervisors to ask that the Board of Supervisors place it on the ballot at an early meeting in July. Then, at that point, it would be placed on the November 4th ballot, and we would continue to do education about the transportation expenditure plan throughout this process and post the approval processes. So staff is recommending your support of this implementation schedule.
Comment? Motion by Sabranti.
Second.
Gregor, you're out, right? You're not trying to speak, right? Okay, I didn't hear it. I have a motion by Sabranti, seconded by Kaplan. So much for name recognition. Is there any objection to the motion? Motion passed without objection. Member reports? We're adjourned. See you all later.